Okay, we're live.
Okay, welcome back to William Ramsey Investigates. And we're switching it up a little tonight because Todd Wood from Killafornia, and interviewing William Ramsey about satanic ritual abuse, which a lot of people think that or have claimed in the past doesn't exist, but this case basically proves that it does. So without any further ado, let's jump on in. William, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for hosting and thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. But before we can really understand Colin Batley and the church, we need to understand Aleister Crowley and the Book of the Law. Would you mind giving us some background information on those things?
Sure. Aleister Crowley's probably one of the famous, most foremost occultists, I think, in the modern age. I mean, he's up there with other people like Eliphas Levi or Albert Pike or something like that, or Manly P. Hall. But he was born in the UK, where this case that we're going to talk about took place. He was born in 1875 and died in 1947. He never had to work. He was very intelligent, well-educated, and really dedicated his life to the occult. One of the primary things that he said happened in his life was when he received a book, like he channeled a book when he was in Egypt. And it happened over 3 days in 1904 while he was in Cairo. And he ended up, he wrote this down kind of like automatic writing. There was not a lot of changes, in the original text. And then he called it the Book of the Law. And it's broken into three different parts. There's three different kind of Egyptian gods. Because he was in Egypt and he was interested in masonry, he had these kind of Egyptian god things. So he had Horus, and I think one was Tanit, and this other Ra or Krut. So he had all these, like one is like a representation of the universe. But it became the central piece of his religion that he called Thelema. So the Book of the Law is also referencing the Book of the Law that's used in Masonry. So in Masonry, you can either have a Bible or something like that that's a centerpiece. Well, Crowley intended this received book that he said he got from a being called, what's his name? I'm blanking on the name, but anyway, this being became the centerpiece of his religion. He called it the Book of Law. Had all kinds of instructions, information, references to the number 11, ritual practices, blood drinking advice. So that was really his center part in 1904, and then he integrated it into this organization called the OTO. But yeah, it became the centerpiece of his religion.
Now, Crowley's influence has been felt, would you say, widespread through the 20th and even the 21st century?
I think so. I think that most occultists reference him at least, or go through a Crowley phase, or become adherents of Crowley, much like I think Colin Batley did.
Right. Now, tell us a little bit about Colin Batley. Give us a little bit about his background. And he was born in 1961. Is that correct?
Something like that. I think that was the thing. He was from England, and he eventually went to Wales. So where this event happened was kind of close to Swansea. It's basically in Western Wales was where he was. But he seemed to always be involved in the occult. And this event, like, he was tried in 2011, and I wrote about it in my book, Children of the Beast. So that was kind of why I wrote about it, because it was so fresh in my mind, and I had been writing about Aleister Crowley. So Aiwass was the name of the being that dictated the Book of the Law of Crowley, Aiwaz.
Okay.
But Batley, yeah, he was interesting, and it's very well written. Like you said at your intro, this isn't some case that is very, like, there's not a lot of information. This guy went to trial. He actually within the last year, I think he was at a parole hearing. So and he wasn't just the only one arrested. There were 4 people arrested.
Four people, yeah.
Yeah, he was the ringleader, but he was the ringleader of this Kidwelly cult, Kidwelly Wales.
Now, before he started the cult, Like we said, most likely born in 1961. He had a series of jobs, and he too was abused. Is that correct?
I don't recall that part of it. Maybe you know. I know you've done
Yeah,
some research on your own.
his father sexually abused him, and he worked a bunch of odd jobs. Like he became a Doberman breeder, like the dog Dobermans, and he expanded that business into Siamese cats. And he was also a street vendor, and then he dabbled in prostitution, where he was the prostitute for a bit.
Wow,
And I
interesting.
believe it was the 1980s when he got into Crowley and the Book of the Law.
Right. So he was involved in the Book of the Law for 30 years. I mean, he
Yes.
was involved in Crowley, yeah. So that's what I recall. I didn't
Right.
know that much background about him. So it seems like there was more information about that guy. Everybody who's listening, let me know if the sound's okay. Somebody complained the sound.
Yeah. Now, the thing with satanic ritual abuse, Walter, is, again, like I said in the intro, a lot of people claim it doesn't exist. But if we really break down what that means, satanic ritual abuse, well, first of all, what is satanic? Most of the time when people think about satanic, they think about Satan. And Satan is a Hebrew word that means to oppose. And any abuse of any form opposes what we believe and hold as our Christian values. Thus, all abuse in one way, shape, or form is satanic. Would you concur with that?
I think in a general sense, yeah, I think you're right. I think that's fair. You could almost transpose the word satanic with occult if you wanted to do it specificity.
Right.
Like these guys are using kind of secret society techniques, and Badley was doing all of it.
Right. Now, this cult started off in, was it London or Britain?
I think it did. I think that's what I said. It started there. Like, I think he was always an occultist as far back as I can remember.
And it was him and his wife in the beginning.
Right. And I think there's like, I have a something where if people want visuals, it's like they have pictures of this whole evil squad. But there was a book on it that I read. It was called The Devil on the Doorstep, My Escape from a Satanic Sex Cult.
Annabelle's story, yeah. And so as we go on, so the cult, how did the cult end up going from, I guess I'll say, England to Wales, essentially? Kid Willie or Welly?
I don't recall that part. Like, I guess I'd have to probably brush it back up. I read the book about it. I think that he was a security guard and he had jobs, and they were in the back of this, like a cul-de-sac in Kidwelly.
Yeah.
And they kept to themselves, if I remember. And they like did horrible stuff. Like he made this girl get into prostitution, and she had 1,800 Johns, like,
well,
crazy numbers.
In order, I believe it is because it's ritualistic. One, he made all the girls get tattoos of the eyes of Horus, or the eye of Horus, on them. And then I believe that the sacred number, in order for that woman to become a scarlet woman, is 1,857. Is that sacred number according to the documentaries and the research I did. So, yeah, and essentially, yeah, they go from the UK to Kid Willie because it's kind of isolated. They can get away with a lot of stuff. And they set up shop there, essentially. And they kind of rope Jackie, who is Annabelle's mother, the lady who wrote the book.
Right, Marling or whatever her name was. Is that right?
Yeah, Marling, about Annabelle. Yeah, so they started, and Jackie would later be one of the 4 people arrested.
That's right, and they had like serious like crime charges.
Right.
Like Jackie, she got 12 years. Elaine Bately, his wife, got 8. There was a person, Shelley Millar, 5 years, and then a 70-year-old guy who was abusing underage girls got 3 years.
Well, according as I recall, now it wasn't isolated to Kit Willie. This kind of became a sort of multi-country network. There were other followers of Colin Batley in the UK and in France, and the church was much bigger than just Wales. It's from what I understand. Do you
That's
know?
yes, that's correct. He was networked.
Yeah,
He was definitely networked and traveling around.
one can't help but wonder if there was a connection to Epstein somewhere in there.
Well, I should look him up in the Epstein files. I wonder if he pops up. And there's a lot of people who popped up in these Epstein files that dropped almost a week ago. So
There's a lot of them, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of work there. I mean, the files that they dropped, there's an enormous amount. So, yeah, no, he wasn't found in these files according to this search.
Yeah. But yeah, at this point, these pedo networks, we know that they exist. All the conspiracy theorists and researchers and academics have been proven correct at this point. There is no more finger wagging by one side to the other, essentially.
Yeah, I think that it's all been done. Like, I just did a show last week with Greg Reed, and we did a show on like these occult crimes, and it's just like these people are lying in the face of evidence that these happen. It's like the real satanic panic, and it's interesting because they're equating this Epstein panic with the satanic panic. That's how they're trying to minimize it.
Well, interestingly enough, the last show I did with Dana on Killafornia, we talked about, is satanic crime real?
Oh, interesting.
And it is real. I mean, the project I'm working on right now with Paul Gregory has to do with the history of it. And
when did you do that show with Dana?
Let's see, I think it was January.
So fairly recently.
Yeah. And so the fascinating thing in this research I've been doing is between 1900 and 1966, essentially all the crimes, or I would say the majority of the crimes, the ritualistic murders are somehow connected to Christianity. Some rogue branch of Christianity, some rogue branch of Pentecostalism, or something like that. But after 1966, when the Process Church of the Final Judgment is created, after the Church of Satan is founded, it's like an explosion of satanic and ritual crime.
So there is kind of like a rise of those crimes that coincided with the rise of the serial killers. Would you agree with that?
Oh, most definitely. A lot of times there's a lot of one-offs though. The most recent one I can think of, or the two most recent ones I can think of, is Daniel Hussein. I think that's his name. And
Danyal. Yeah.
And then Tommaso Serra in Colombia. And that one is pretty intense. That's like a whole bunch of victims over a span of almost 20 years. He gets caught in 2018. He was carving pentagrams into his victims, and talk about true detective. He was cutting off the middle and ring finger, so his victims' hands would make the sign of the Vor from H.P. Lovecraft, or Lynn Carter's book, The Secret in the Parchment. Wow. And then there's just a whole bunch. It's a global phenomenon, William. It's not isolated to England or America. It goes into Colombia. It goes into Brazil. It goes to a whole bunch of different places.
I don't know if you can see this, Todd, but I found a picture on Daily Mail UK of the tattoo, the Eye of Horus tattoo, right?
Oh,
so there it is. You can see it. This is the tattoo. It's kind of like they see them out their own tattoo. They had it. These are some of the cohorts of Batley: Jacqueline Marling, his wife Elaine, and Shelley Millar.
Yeah.
That's him right there. He had no teeth. It looks like he has a crazy smile, but it's because he has no teeth.
Yeah.
This was actually March of 2025. I haven't seen some of this newer stuff because.
And he still claims in prison that it wasn't a cult.
But that's not what the evidence shows. He's heavily involved. Like I literally took these quotes.
Well, he kind of has to. He can't just be in jail. It's like, yeah, you got me,
Yeah.
Greasy.
I mean, we covered the Beast from the East, Pazuzu too, right? So he's
Right.
almost kind of like one of these characters, a scary character. He has his own church.
Mm-hmm.
You have to cross the abyss.
Yeah.
He like had doctrines for these people. Like he was a
right, and it was all Crowley based too.
Right. He quotes directly from the Book of the Law. So you got it, when your intro about talking about.
And he was having them meditate naked in front of like a shrine, right? And the interesting thing is like the way he would sort of I guess affirm his control is he would claim that he was the living embodiment of the gods, of like the Egyptian gods.
Right.
Or more particularly, the gods that are mentioned in the Book of the Law.
That's right. So I think he mentions Horus,
Mm-hmm.
at Star of Horus, but like this was some things he would tell to this girl. It says, "You mustn't be frightened. The only thing to fear in this world is failing to fulfill your will and failing to reach the palace. The world is a natural, instinctive place. We must take our place within it. Every man and woman is a star." That's a direct quote from the Book of the Law.
Right.
Every number is infinite. There's no difference. And then he quotes again from the Book of the Law. "Come forth, O children of the stars, and take your fill of love," he intoned to a 7-year-old girl.
Yeah. The palace reference is their version of heaven.
Right.
Not only that, if I'm recalling correctly, they were towards the end there, they were having the girls go to France and work at a brothel. No, they were going to Bristol and working. Yeah, they were working at a brothel in Bristol because they were trying to get to 1,800 and 57.
They're trying to rack up the numerical values, like the important numerology.
Right. And Annabelle, the woman who blew the whistle, or the young lady who blew the whistle, when she realized her mother had been in over 2,000 sexual encounters, she realized the whole thing's crap, and that sort of set the wheels in motion to get help and blow the whistle on this cult.
Classic stuff, like they named their dogs Tutankhamun, Sekhet. They had a temple with tanks full of snakes. The babies, belonged to the cult.
Mm-hmm.
There were pictures and statues of Egyptian gods. There were like things that you had to walk slightly backwards. Badly explained the meaning of the pictures. The one with the head of the cat is called Bastet, the goddess of war and the protector of the underworld. Horus there. The one with the head of the falcon, the bird, is the protector god. If you have an eye of Horus, you will always be protected by the gods.
Right.
While the one with the sun on his head is the creator, the solar deity.
Right.
He rules all parts of the world, the realm, the palace, and the abyss. And Anubis there, the one with the dog head, he is the god of the afterlife.
Right. And then don't forget about Batley's son. Batley's son accidentally kills himself trying to perform a sex act on himself. He hangs himself. But autosexual asphyxiation.
Right. Yeah, bad. And then Batley didn't care. He's like, oh, big deal. He's gone.
Yeah.
He just didn't really even mind it.
Right. Well, there was a lot of abuse, especially between Batley and everybody else, but Batley and his son especially, because he verbally tear Damien down in front of all the other cult members, calling him not a man and like a homosexual and your typical type of stuff.
Yeah, he's a very unpleasant character in all these ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's rapes. He would say stuff like you had to prove yourself to the gods as it's written in the Book of the Law. So he was doing that. He forced people into prostitution. They would read aloud from the book of the law. So like that was something they would memorize and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he said, the judge said, you formed a community within a community. You were described as evil. That, in my view, is an entirely accurate statement of your character. It's likely that you have dedicated your life since you were 12 years old to satisfying your sexual urges by whatever means at your disposal. That was the judge.
Right. And if I'm remembering correctly, Badley did get into Satanism. He got into, I guess it was either, I'm not sure if it was theistic or Levian Satanism, but I guess that was in the 90s he got into Satanism. And like he was making he made his cult members wear an upside down cross.
That's right.
Yeah.
He had a girl from Germany locked in the basement.
Yeah.
Like, just like really dark. Like these people were walking around and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And he would read from it with a laminated copy while dressed in hooded robes, like the classic hooded robe motif. Orgying, Rottweilers.
Yeah. Right. And he told the local townspeople, he told his cult members if anybody asked that they were Mormons.
That's right. Their cover was they were Mormons. That was the lie, right?
Yeah.
He was convicted of 35 separate offenses, 11 rapes, causing prostitution and indecency with children.
Yeah.
And the judge finally, at the final sentence, he said, he obviously did not care for Bailey. He said, you may never be released. You set yourself up as the ruler of a sick little kingdom surrounded by 3 women who danced as your willing attendants. You became their master and formed a community within a community involving child abuse, rape, and prostitution. You have been described as evil. That is entirely accurate. You have fully lived up to the ideals of your mentor, Aleister Crowley. You used the occult to further your sexual excesses. Children were kept as toys for sex purposes. You took a cruel delight in initiating children into sex, but their lives have been blighted forever. It was organized and systematic abuse of children, and you dedicated yourself to such depravity. You'd probably get along great with Jeffrey Epstein. That's something you could say to Epstein, right?
Yeah.
So it's let me see if I can find pictures. I found pictures earlier of it. There's the woman. She has the 210 common tattoo or whatever. It's another one. Jacqueline Marley. There's a picture of Crowley.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's Ebola skin burning down. But yeah, this is all fairly well covered. Like, this is 2023.
Yeah.
International Business Times covered it. This is one woman tells of years of sexual abuse in Welsh satanic cult. This is from 2014. That's Jacqueline Marley. So she went to Big Town. There's a cover of her book, The Devil on the Doorstep, so people can check that out. Like, it's a rough read.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of these Epstein survivors, actually, this woman, Annabelle Force is a fake name. It's a pseudonym. But she said, afterwards, Cullen asked me if I enjoyed it, and I knew what I had to say. I had to say yes, but inside I felt like dying. That's what these little girls who were abused by Epstein are like, they have to play along to get along. Or survive, really, actually. They have to, everything's fine. Yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah.
She was forced into regular sessions with Badley and her mother in a relationship with an older man. I was a schoolgirl by day and a sex slave at night. I tried to take my own life at one point. I guess it was inspired by the Rochdale case, which I'm not familiar with. You know the Rochdale case?
Yeah. What is that? Are you saying the book is inspired by, or what's inspired by it?
Forrest said that she was persuaded to speak about her abuse by the Rochdale case.
Oh, I see.
So there must have been some other case then. I'm not familiar with that at all. Rochdale child abuse ring from 2004 to 2013, sexual abuse. I don't know where Rochdale is. Greater Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
So another sex trafficking. There were 8 British, Pakistani, and Afghani people. I think it's one of the grooming cases.
Oh, okay. Is this that big one that broke a while back?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Pretty rough. I mean, it's very rough stuff. Like this is...
Yeah, and it's just another example of Crowley's influence too, beyond the grave, and it's malevolent, basically.
Yeah, it's never good. Like anytime Crowley shows up, it's like somebody's being abused or something crazy is going on. Savile actually shows up in the Epstein files. I don't know if you know that, but
who does?
Jimmy Savile.
Oh, really? He does.
Yeah, he sure does. He shows up, kind of cavorting with these guys in New Orleans sometime around the turn of the millennium, 2001, long time ago.
Oh man.
But, he was a weird guy, but it makes perfect sense that he would be involved. There's like blood drinking in there. It's like eyes wide shut stuff. It's really crazy.
Is there human sacrifice in there?
Well, there's a lot of children. There's infant trafficking. There's no question about it. But
Right.
whether it's overt human sacrifice, a lot of dead bodies. There were claims of 2 dead bodies at the Zorro Ranch.
Right.
There's people who've disappeared. There was a girl, Zarakova. I forgot her name. She was of Russian extraction who supposedly committed suicide and jumped off a thing, which I find very unusual. It's very graphic. Women usually don't do that.
Yeah.
It's very male thing to do. Like, I don't care about people finding my body.
Right. Typically with women, it's the least amount of pain as possible.
Right. They never use guns. There's you could probably find women who've used guns on their hand, and also they leave notes. It's very important for them to kind of explain themselves, and they usually take drift off to sleep in a bed or something like that, or usually not very graphic. That's not always the case. But women who actually shoot themselves are I would say it's almost fake. Here's his parole hearing, March 25, 2025. I don't think he got parole.
I hope he never gets out.
Yeah, and he was brainwashing. He was manipulating and controlling his victims. That's what he was doing. He, like you said, he moved from London to Wales in the 90s and based it in Kidwelly. But I remember reading, after I did the original research, I remember reading about him traveling around. Do you know more about that? Because maybe you saw it.
I know he went to France because he was videotaping these sexual encounters with these kids, and he was selling the videotapes.
Interesting. So he had a business going on.
Yeah. Yeah, no. This guy was just basically an occult pimp, essentially. Because the ladies would have to give him all their money, and he'd pay them £50 every 4 days or something like that.
Right, that's classic cult behavior. Control the money, brainwash.
Yeah.
You don't do this, you're going to go to the abyss, right? So that's a classic brainwashing motif where you threaten people with eternal damnation or whatever. Yeah, it's really crazy. OTO, he was associated with the OTO too, so OTO training. So it wasn't just the book of the law. Decades long, it was a decade-long type thing.
I also wonder if there's a process church connection somewhere in there.
It's weird, but Ian Watkins, have you ever heard of the Ian Watkins case? The guy who was into raping kids and stuff like that. He was from Wales and from around that time.
Oh, really?
And I wonder if there's an overlap with that case. Ian Watkins really hard.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Right? He died in jail this last year.
Yeah.
2025, somebody killed him, but he was convicted right around the time of Badley. So Badley, I think, was convicted in 2012. And Ian Watkins of Lost Prophets was convicted in 2013.
Yeah. Oh.
He had kind of a network too. He had 2 women, and he was just he was killed on October 2025.
Gosh, what is it with Wales?
I don't know. It's very odd.
Yeah. You know, and the thing with Crowley, it's like influence, though. It's like, can you tell us? This isn't Colin Batley related, but it is Crowley related. I was curious about. Did you write about? Is his name Edward Alexander Crowley?
Edward was his real name. That's Aleister Crowley's real name. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
I
I did.
think, yeah. Well, I mean, Alex Edwards Crowley. And someone changed their name essentially and committed a
Well, that
murder
was
in 19.
his name is Edward Crowley. That's his
Yeah,
real.
I see.
Then he changed it to Aleister. So
I must be thinking of something else. I thought that I saw something where a guy changed his name to his last name to Crowley, and he committed a crime in 1999 or something.
yeah, no, I remember. I've heard of that case. Like, there's been Crowley figures. There was actually, interestingly, is that there's a Crowley cult in California. Somebody reached out to me within the last couple of weeks to tell me about it. And I was like, I'm one of the few people who know about it. And they were involving murders and the Book of the Law. And it happened in the Central Valley, either in Fresno or Stockton or something like that. And these guys were running it. He was a classic cult leader. And he
Oh,
sent
really?
people out to kill people. Yeah, yeah.
This new cult, or did this happen a while ago?
This is like 25 years ago in California.
Oh, when did this happen? Or like, is there information on this?
Let me see if I can find it. It's not in this version of my book. Let's see if I can find it. Remember the guy? I can't remember the guy's name. He had a Latino name, if I can remember it.
Well, there's a lot of satanic occult ritual murder that happens in California. That's like, I think after we run the numbers, that's what we're going to find. It happens more there than anywhere else.
What is going on with California? Like, they have so many cultists here. It's just off the charts.
Yeah.
The guy's name was Cruz. It happened in 1984. A series of burglaries happened. And they didn't know who was doing it. And somebody wrote a card that says, "We will be back to kill you." During an investigation, they found a 17-year-old man who tells authorities of a satanic cult run by a fanatical leader named Gerald Cruz. An exotic dancer at a nearby club went to the police in fear for her life in September of 1985.
Oh.
This was Stanislaus County. And she said that she was going to be sacrificed by the group. She does not want to participate in a cult marriage ritual devised by Aleister Crowley. She didn't want to be part of the marriage of the beast that would wed her, the cult leader, Gerald Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
The exotic dancer, tells the police the names of 50-odd cult members. They come from all walks of life. The California cult was a very secretive, close-knit, sophisticated group, said Randy Zerny, director of the Northern Chapter of California's Ritual Crimes Investigators Association. Mm-hmm. The 55-member cult lived in what was called the Camp Compound at 4150 Finney Road in Salida, similar to the Branch Davidian complex in Waco, Texas. They made money through drug sales and prostitution. All group members were to pool and share their money, which they used to stockpile guns and explosives. Cult leader Cruz directed members of the group to read and study the books of Aleister Crowley, whom Cruz believed himself to be the reincarnation of. Diaries obtained by the authorities included entries that the cult were Crowley followers. 1988, I was assigned a new book. It's called Mastering Witchcraft. I also got a magical name, Kronos. So they were giving out magical names, saying the Lord's.
Kronos?
Backwards, what?
You said Kronos?
Kronos, yes. CRO.
So you hear something interesting is Moloch and Kronos are essentially the same being. So it was a Babylonian, and it's Moloch, and of course you know the story about sacrificing babies to Moloch. But the Carthaginians, they adopted Moloch and it changed it to Kronos. But the whole thing with the bull idol stayed the same. And there's a lot of reports of sacrificing babies to Kronos.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There were things at the Harvest Festival during Halloween. They said, quote, "We honor the dead by eating with them, drinking with them, and smoking with them. We talked about the ancient ones. They were demons who got through to this dimension."
Ooh.
There were murders involved. I found my sister isn't allowed over here because Darren said and thinks I'm brainwashed. She probably was. Let's see. Cruz told a member to sacrifice your first newborn was the greatest thing you could ever do, and that it was for the satisfaction of Satan. Cruz used mind control techniques such as sleep deprivation, physical punishment, isolation from outside family members to maintain control and compliance, as well as electroshock. The electrocution was referred to as the orange cord treatments. A Black & Decker extension cord with the ends exposed were wrapped around testicles and other body parts while Cruz applied the electricity. In addition, Cruz physically and sexually abused his children. In the mid-'80s, investigators heard of animal sacrifices and unsolved murders in the Salida area, but the machinations of the cult were revealed during an investigation about 4 murders in Salida in the spring of 1990. Police discovered that tensions grew between Cruz and another member of the compound, Franklin Raper, the name, over drug dealing and other squabbles. Raper, with 3 other members of the group, left the cult and moved out of the compound to an apartment in Salida. Furious, Cruz determined to seek vengeance against Raper and the other ex-members. Cruz announced that the plan was to go over to the residence and do them and leave no witnesses. On the night of May 1st, 24, this is all newspapers.com.
Oh, wow.
We should get the copies of this. On the night of May 21st, 1990, Cruz and other high-level members of the cult leave the compound in camouflage. You're going to talk about Killafornia. This is perfect for you. We could do another show on this. They left the compound in camouflage, drove to Raper's apartment, and attacked him and his friends with baseball bats and knives. They were all subdued and murdered. The evidence pointed back to the camp in Cruz. He was arrested with Richard Vieira and David Beck. During the trial, the prosecutor refused to address the occult elements of the crime. Surprised. No surprise, actually. Certainly believed that the press and the authorities were trying to minimize the danger of the Salida cult. During the trial, defense attorneys called cult expert psychologist Daniel Goldstein, who interviewed cult members and read through diaries and court transcripts. As reported in the December 16, 1992 edition of the Modesto Bee, quote, Goldstein called Cruz evil and sadistic, yet considered him a charismatic leader of a religious, satanic cult that controlled followers by using fear tactics, sleep deprivation, humiliation, torture, and in some cases forced sexual acts such as sodomy. The judge in the Vieira Appeals case in 2005 recognized the baleful influence of Cruz. Quote, in this case, the evidence shows that the defendant acted under the substantial domination of cult leader Gerald Cruz, who controlled every aspect of defendant's life and threatened to kill anyone who did not follow his orders. Absent the pernicious influence of a satanic cult leader, it is doubtful that the defendant would have committed murder. Gerald Cruz, Richard Vieira, and David Beck were sentenced to death for the 4 murders. 2 other cult leaders were given life sentences. In the appeals processes of Cruz, Vieira, and Beck remain in California judicial dockets. To this day, that was 2012 when I wrote this. They were bouncing through the court system here in California. And that's probably another show. I should dig up some of those newspaper.com.
Yeah, that'd be a good show.
A lot of people don't know the story of Bailey or Cruz.
Yeah.
So it's let me see if I can somebody chat. Anybody has any questions from the chat? We have 121 live listeners. Thanks everybody for listening. Sheila says England's history is blighted with the satanic evil, John Todd, and the reason the Rothschilds have their HQs there is because it's believed to have the strongest energy for satanic purposes. I'm not surprised. She also says investigator John Wedger would be a brilliant interview regarding all of that in the English establishment. I've had Wedger on my show in the past. I was going to say that guy looked like Savile. Yes, Savile's interesting. Dragon symbolism. Yeah, that's there. Moloch equals Pro-Chronos. So,
you know, the dragon stuff, that's also in the 4 pi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a lot. It's Colin Bailey. He is a piece of work. He's never getting out of jail. I don't think they'll.
Okay, so this is Henry Allen Bibby. Okay, and he
Who's that?
changed his name to Edward Alexander Crowley. Yeah, and he murdered one person, and he was a total Crowleyite. And I'm actually going to send you this link here.
Okay. Do you want to email it to me or put it in the private chat?
I'm going to email it to you real quick. That's a bad thing about Murderpedia. It's like, I get that like you're making money from ads, but it's at some point it gets kind of ridiculous, like the pop-ups and stuff, you know?
Right.
All right, I sent it.
Okay, question Murderpedia, Crowley Edward. It should be, people should be able to see this guy. Henry Allen Bibby, 2000. Birth date, 1948, London, England. That is strange. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of Bibby and become Crowley. Unemployed, no fixed address, attempted murder of a 15-year-old. Killed a 12-year-old, Diego Pinheiro Villar. How Loner's obsession with the occult led to fatal stabbing. British media told you this man was a Satanist and it was an occult sacrifice. He was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. Crowley murdered Diego because he was influenced by the instruction on ritual sacrifice in a magical workbook titled Magic. That's it. This is bad. Yeah, I never heard of that case either. So we've got this case. We've got Bately. You've got Gerald Cruz.
Right. If anybody knows in the chat, like I've been researching the Tommaso Serra case. Like, what is the occult significance of the letter Z? It's either something with the occult or something with H.P. Lovecraft, because he was carving Z's into his victims. And other than the Hebrew alphabet, where the letter Z is like, like warrior of the spirit or something like that, essentially. I can't figure that out. If anybody wants to, if anybody has any ideas, please let us know.
Sometimes people in the chat know these things,
Yeah.
Peaches Geldof. I wrote about Geldof too in my book. She spoke out about Watkins. She was a member of the OTO. That's right. I have a whole chapter on her on Children of the Beast. Right. Also about the Killafornia cult and Bately. So all the things I wrote about.
Was it when we had George on to talk about Thomas Creech? Wasn't there another killer, like a hitman associated with the OTO? I'll have to go back and listen to that episode.
I don't recall offhand. I've done a lot of shows in between that. So.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody in the chat knows. The chat is just really smart. My chat is some of the smartest people. They can remember.
Shout out to the chat.
Yeah, 133 live listeners. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
What do you think, Todd? Do you have anything else? I feel like I've kind of covered everything.
I think we covered it.
I'll research Gerald Cruz. I'll send you my material on it.
Yes, I want to know, because that's a perfect case for this project I'm working on with Paul.
Okay, cool. I'll do likewise. I'll try to add that into my pretty rigorous research schedule right now, but I'll try to get some stuff on that because I'd like to see the newspapers. Some of the stuff when I was doing research, I didn't have access. I have the newspapers.com.
Right. Well, if these murders were ritualistic, then I'd like to know in what way they were ritualistic, right? Because there's a whole other part of analysis that would just cover the ritualistic part of the crimes, of course.
Right. Sheila says in the chat, just guessing here, but the Z could be symbolically associated with the 10 in the tarot, as both represent the end.
That's interesting. Yeah. Hey, Sheila, look up Tommaso Serra.
How do you spell his last name?
Cera.
Tommaso Serra.
Tommaso
That was
Serra.
in Colombia, is that right?
Yes, Colombia. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I'm pretty much done. Do you have anything else you want to add, Todd?
I just want to say thank you guys for listening to us ramble on about this stuff, and we really appreciate all of you. And thank you so much, William, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for hosting. Where can people find you? This will be on Todd's channel in Killafornia, right? And your Patreon too.
It'll be on my Patreon. Yeah.
Okay.
You can check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/C/Killafornia. And
also Walter Bosley had a shout out on Joe Rogan. I heard that.
Yeah. Oh, I think he's had 2.
Oh, really? I heard one.
I think Dana's had one.
Dana Duda was on Joe Rogan?
No, she wasn't on Joe Rogan. She
was referenced on Rogan.
I think she had a shout out. I could be completely wrong about that. But
I heard the one by Kurt Metzger. I heard that's the one I heard. So that's cool. So
yeah.
He actually said Nimza.
Nimza,
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's hopefully one day he'll get to go on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, for sure. Wes, thank you. Thanks for listening, Wes. Thanks. Yeah, keep an eye out for it. We'll try to do a show on Gerald Cruz. I'll get some more research on that. But
yeah, I definitely want to know more.
It's like the cases you bring up too, though. Like those are important cases, but nobody really talks about them, even in true crime.
Right.
It seems like they're not talking.
I mean, again, there's been such an active movement to cover these crimes up. And the thing is that, even through the satanic panic, like, even though a lot of them weren't satanic, a lot of them were. For instance, the Acid King, right?
Casso.
Yeah. Now, the police made a big effort to try to keep the Satanism stuff out of the news and keep that to themselves. And there's lots of other cases like that too. I mean, and we're talking about California. Just look at Elise Pollard from 1995 and those 3 boys sacrificing her. Yeah.
Arroyo Seco or something like that in Central California.
Yeah. Because they wanted their
band. They thought their band was going to take off by killing this girl in a ritual sacrifice.
Right. And I mean, and then the thing is, people try to. The thing with Marilyn Manson too. That's some interesting stuff too, because those 3 girls killed that nun in I guess it was in Rome. They were super Marilyn Manson fans. Did you know about that?
No, I don't know about that one. I'm not surprised though.
Yeah.
It just gets darker. I mean, it's all covered up. I just mentioned it in the Gerald Cruz case. The guy, Cerny, said, and I reached out to Goldstein and Cerny. They never got back to me. That's just 10 years ago. But they said that they were playing down the occult aspects of the Gerald Cruz case.
Right.
I think those 3 guys are still in jail in California. Almost.
Yeah. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Christina Pike is going to be executed later this year. And that's a satanic ritual murder that happened in my neck of the woods.
Christina Pike, tell me about that one.
Well, if she when she's executed, she'll be the youngest lady to be executed in America's history, I think, or at least the state's history. She killed a rival, and carved a pentagram into her chest.
Oh, that's intense.
Yeah,
that's what's on the cover of Program to Kill. Is a dude who had a pentagram carved into his chest. So
well.
Cool crime in San Francisco.
Doing this sort of research, you realize that happens quite a bit.
More than you would like to actually admit. Like it's all, like you said, it's covered up. It's not emphasized.
Right.
And they want to keep it hush hush.
Right. And is the pentagram upside down? Or is it right side up?
Right, but it's usually down. It's usually upside down if they're doing the ritual.
Right. It's usually upside down. So they stand over the person and then they carve it. They carve it so it's upside down when you're looking at him upright or she upright or something like that. And, and again, even with Stephen Hurd, when he cut out Florence Nancy Brown's heart and burnt it, or ate half of it and burnt the rest of it, he put it in a pentagram first. He made a pentagram out of paper and cigarette butts and stuff like that. And then he placed the heart in the middle of the pentagram and then burnt it. I mean,
yeah, man, it gets really dark. There's a lot of dark stuff. And you can go back, guys. I encourage you to look through my archives and all the shows I've done with Todd. We're
right.
way past 10, I think. Haven't counted where we're at in my
Right. In fact, didn't a ritual? I don't know if it was ritualistic, but a woman just killed a woman just killed a man in Montana maybe last year or 2 years ago because it was a satanic initiation. She was claiming to be Lucifer on Earth.
I think our most recent one was Pazuzu, right? Was that late last year?
No, Pazuzu was in 2015. Yeah, no, there's been
that's
quite a
when
few.
You and I talked about Pazuzu.
Yeah. No. I meant the last ritualistic crime. Of course, there's one in Arizona where a Baptist minister got crucified. That happened recently.
Trying to count how many.
Oh, but anyways, we're at the 50-minute mark. 51.
Does it show up on your side? The 50? Does it show that time?
Yeah, it does. It says live and it has that time. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you see the time too. Sometimes I don't know if people can see all the stuff on my end. So you
yeah. Well, sadly, the time is blocking a lot of the stuff, like the documents that you're trying to show.
Oh, okay.
7,
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We've done 14 shows. This will be our 15th show. So
nice.
Go back and check out my archive or go to Killafornia or check out Todd Wood on Patreon. Is there anything you'd like to add? Anything I missed, Todd, before we wrapped up?
No, it was a pleasure being on, and I can't wait for the next show.
Likewise. Everybody, thank you very much for listening. We had 150 live listeners. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it if you share the show, if you like the material. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Todd.
Have a good one.
You too. Stay tuned.